Hello everyone, in this video I will show you the basics of the color grading in Premiere Pro. So if you are starting with color grading, then you must know the basics or the basics tools which are available for color grading in Premiere Pro. So for this purpose I'll show you what are the different options using which you can color grade your videos. So the first thing which you need to do, just open any video clip in the Premiere Pro on which you want to do the color grading, and thereafter you need to have the access to the Lumetri colors panel, which is right over here. If it is not shown over here, just go to the Windows and then select the Lumetri colors, and then it would show somewhere around here. All right, and then we have the different options over here. So if you just look over here, the first option which we have is the basic correction, then we have the creative, and then we have the curves, and then we have the color, wheels and match, HSL secondary and vignette effect. So basic correction is basically for the basic adjustments like white balance, contrast, highlights, shadows, white balance or blacks, and adjusting the saturation, etc. So in order to use this one, you have to have the access to one more option, and that is the Lumetri scopes. So let me show you. This is the Lumetri scope panel right over here. If it is not shown over here, just go to the Windows and then select the Lumetri scopes, and that way you will get this option. And over here I have selected, if you click on this tool, I have selected vector scope YUV and the Parade RGB white. So you need to select both of these two, which are very important. So let me show you the first one. This one is the Parade RGB white. So this was the Parade RGB white. So it basically shows the exposure and contrast of your video clip. So at this moment you can see that we have less highlights in this one. So this top graph must touch to the 100, and beyond 100 it's going to clip the highlights. And this is the midtone is perfect, and then we have the shadows, and shadows must touch the 0, and thereafter it's going to clip the shadows. So in order to have the perfect exposure, you must have all these top highlights, and the shadows must touch around 0 and highlights around 100. So let's adjust it while keeping this in mind. So in this case, if we just come over here in the basics panel, in the Lumetri colors basic panel, we have the option. We are not going to adjust the temperature at this moment, because if we adjust it, it's going to introduce, if we drag it towards the colder side, it's going to introduce this cold color or cold tint, and you can see how this is changing. And if I drag it to the right hand side, it's going to introduce the warm color or warm tone inside it. And then we have the option of tint, so we can just drag the tint towards the purple side or towards the greener side. All right, and if you just double click it, this slider would go to its default position. All right, and we have even this option of white balance selector. So if you just click on this, and then you can select any color which is white, gray or the black. So that's going to make it a perfect white balance. So if I select this one, so you can see it adjusts this one option right over here, and that's going to give you the perfect white balance. All right, so let's say, okay, just move your playhead to a perfect frame on which you can see clearly the entire footage or the perfect option. All right, and then we have the option of adjusting the exposure right over from here. So if we increase this slider, you can see right now, if we just drag it, so it's already touched this 100, so that means it's already had lots of exposure. So we can just bring it down, you can see, or we can adjust it to something like over here. All right, so that it's not going to clip it. And then we have the option of contrast, so we can adjust the contrast in the image. So that's going to introduce the contrast in the plus side, and if we drag it to the left side, it's going to take away the contrast. So that way we'll have the faded look. So you can adjust it according to your liking. And then we have the option to adjust the highlight, so we can bring the highlights down by dragging it to the left side, or we can just drag it up, and that's going to add lots of white, but make sure that it doesn't just goes beyond the 100, so that's going to clip the highlight. So in this case I'll just go for the default one, because I think the graph is already showing that it's perfectly exposed, because this is a stock footage, so it has already been color corrected and it has already been color graded. All right, so we don't have to do much in this. And then we have the option to open up the shadows. So we have the option of shadow, so we can drag it up to open up the shadows. You can see the dynamic range right over here. So let me just make it a little bigger so that you can see it clearly. So if you drag the shadows back, you can see it's going to take the dynamic range away, and if you drag it back, it's going to open up the shadows. All right, and then we have the option to adjust the white in the image, so we can just drag it, we can add while dragging it to the right, or we can subtract while dragging it to the left. And if you just double click it, it's going to go to its default position, that's the 0. All right, and we can adjust the black. So if you just drag it towards the right hand side, that's going to take away the black, and you can see we have got this faded look. And if you drag it to the left hand side, that's going to introduce lots of black. All right, so it depends on you what kind of a look you want, and you can just do this. So I'll just go for something like this, little bit +4 is that's fine. And then we have the option of auto as well. So auto is going to adjust adjust it automatically, and that's going to give you the perfect option. So if I just press the auto, you can see it automatically does this for you. But I don't want this one, because I want it manually. So I want to have the manual control how this clip is going to look. And then we have the option of reset. So if we just click on this reset button, so that's going to reset all the adjustments we have just made. Right, so I'll just press Ctrl Z, Command Z to undo it. And then we have the option to adjust the saturation. So we can increase the saturation, or we can lower down the saturation. Okay, so we can, if we drag it to the 0%, so that's going to make it a black and white, and if we drag it to 100%, it's going to introduce lots of colors. All right, and this second wheel, you can see this second wheel, this is very important. It shows the saturation of the colors, and this is going to be very helpful for adjusting the skin tone, or in order to get the perfect skin tone, this also helps us. And if you want to support me to make more and more free stuffs available for you guys, then please consider buying my best seamless transition pack, which has 300 plus seamless transitions and elements for Premiere Pro. These are drag and drop transitions and elements which you can use and take your videos to the next level. Right now you can get it up to 70% off. The download link is in the description section below, or visit my website harshvardhanart.com. So without further ado, let's get started. You can see this has the red color, magenta, green and cyan and yellow. So this is the, I think, hexagon, and inside this you can see these kind of clouds. So that means it represents the saturation. If anywhere this color just goes, or this cloud goes beyond this line, that means it is oversaturated, and you must not do that. All right, the perfect saturation would be around in the middle of all these lines. All right, so you have to keep this in mind. So if I just adjust the saturation, let's say 200%, so you can see some of the clouds is going outside. So that means this color, which represents the magenta, and this, I think, black, or this, yes, it's something black. So it just goes beyond the saturation level. That means it's having too much saturation, so we need to adjust it back. So I'll just double click it, and that's going to make it 100%. And you can see now this cloud is inside this hexagon. Okay, so that was the basic options for correcting the basics in the color grading. So now let's move on to the creative panel. So we have the second panel, and that is the creative panel. So creative panel is basically for the color grading or creating some color or creative effect. Alright, so first one is now done. We are done with the first one, and then let's go to the second one, second creative button. So we'll just click on this. That's going to open up all of these. So here we have the option to add a look. So if you have any LUTs pack, or you can download some of the LUTs pack from my website, free as well as paid. So you can use these LUTs from here. So if you click on this, you can see there are certain, these are the some pre-installed which you will find in almost every version of the Premiere Pro, and these are which are my own LUTs pack. So I have added all these over here. So you can choose any of these, and that's going to give you the immediate effect. So let me show you by selecting this one. So if I select this one, you can see how this has been color graded immediately, and that's going to give you a very cinematic look immediately. Alright, and there is another option, and that option is you can click over here and you can browse, and you can browse the downloaded LUT pack. So if you have downloaded some from somewhere, you can select that and select open, and that's going to apply that LUT pack as well. So you can see this has been applied over here, and if you don't want to apply any LUT, just click on this and select the none. So you can select none. Alright, and there is one more way to apply. If you have installed some of these over here, so you can just click on these arrows to browse through, and that's going to give you an immediate small preview how this LUT is going to affect your clip, or how this is going to look on your clip. So you can just keep on browsing by clicking on this arrow, or you can just click on this arrow if you want to go back. And once you select something which is looking good, you can just double click it, and that's going to apply this effect or this LUT right over here on your clip. And then we have the option of adjusting its intensity. So if you don't want that much of effect of this LUT on your clip, you can just drag this slider towards the left hand side. So that's going to make it intensity 17%, adjust it, or if you want the more of it, just drag it upward. So you can drag it up to 200%. So that's going to give you this kind of effect. And if you just double click it, that's going to go to its basic default position. Alright, and then we have the another option of the adjustment. So we have the option of faded film. So if you want to create a faded look where we take away the black from the image, and so you can create it right from here as well. So if I just drag this faded film towards this, just look how this dynamic range is increasing and how it's going to create the faded look for you. Alright, and if you just double click it, it's going to go back to its normal version. And then we have the option to sharpen. So we can sharpen, increase the sharpness. You can see in the video. Let's make it full, and we can just take away the sharpness as well. Alright, if we drag it towards the left side, that's going to take away the sharpness, and if you just double click it, that's going to go to its default position. And then we have the option of vibrance. So vibrance is basically going to affect the saturation of the image. So the difference between vibrance and saturation is that vibrance affects the cooler tone in the image, whereas the saturation affects the overall tone. So if I just drag this up, just look at this, how this cooler tone or this blue shirt is going to affect. So that's going to increase the saturation of the blue tone, and if you drag it back, you can see that's going to take away most of the blue tone. Right, so if I just double click it and increase little bit of saturation or vibrance, so that's going to look something like this. And then we have the option of saturation. So basically saturation is similar to what we have just seen in the basic correction. So if we just drag it towards the left side, that's going to make it black and white, and if we drag it towards the right hand side, we can increase the saturation, and if we just double click it, that's going to go to the default position. And then we have these two color wheels. So these two color wheels, one represents the shadow tint and then second one is highlight tint. So if you want to add some different color tints in the shadows, so wherever there are shadows, you can see right over here, if I just click anywhere on this color, so if I just want to add the green in the shadow, I'll just click over here and you can see wherever there are shadows, that's going to introduce the green. And if I drag this one, that's teal, and this is going to add blue and purple and red and yellow and this yellow, and you can see this wheel. So if you just click over here, that's going to add the less saturated green, and if I click on the middle, that's going to increase the saturation of this green, and if I drag it over here, that's going to add more of the green. So if you want the less saturated effect, just click just near the center of this circle or this wheel. All right, and similarly, let me just introduce some of, let's say, this color. All right, or let's add, let's say, this one. All right, so let me add a little bit less saturated, and then we have the option of shadow highlight or highlight tint. Sorry. So if we click anywhere, like if you want to introduce let's say teal color, so I'll just click it. You can see how the shadow color is changed to this color which we have just selected. If we add green, so that's going to add green, and if we click on the yellow, that's going to add the yellow in the highlights, and if we click on the red, that's going to add the red, and then purple, and then blue. So you can just click and see what kind of a look you want, and you can just go with that option. And then we have the option of tint balance. So at this moment, it's equally have the balance of shadow as well as the highlight. So if you just want the shadow to have the more effect, just drag this one over here. So that's going to add lots of in the this tint or this color tint in the shadows, and if we drag it towards the highlight side, so that's going to show more of the highlights and it's going to less affect the shadow. All right, and if you just double click it, that's going to bring it back to its default position. So if you want to just uncheck and see what you have done to this, so if you just click on this little check box, so if we uncheck it, you can see that's the before, and if we check this again, that's the after we have just color graded this. And if we uncheck the basic as well, so if I uncheck basic and this one, so that was the starting image, and if I click on the basic, so basic has made it something like this, and then the creative made it something like this. All right, so if I just show you a full screen, so you can see if I just play it, this is how you can easily color grade your video clips in Premiere Pro. So that was the basics. So we have covered two options in this video, basic and the creatives. So next we are going to cover the curves and then color wheels, HSL and vignette. So all these are options we'll cover one by one, and for that purpose stay tuned. And if you want those videos to come very soon, please hit the like button and leave something in the comments, and please consider sharing this video so that I get motivated by your comments, by your likes and by your shares, so that I make more and more useful videos for you. So thank you so much. Bye bye. See you in the next video. Till then, keep shooting and unleash the creative in you. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing for more amazing tips, tricks and tutorials. And once again, let me remind you that if you want to support me to make more and more free stuff for you guys, then please consider buying my best seamless transition pack, which has at this moment 300 plus transitions and elements which are very useful drag and drop transitions and drag and drop elements just like this. This is also a part of best seamless transition pack. At this moment you can get this best seamless transition pack at up to 70% off. So go ahead, download it, support me and consider sharing this video with others, and please like, subscribe and share this video. So thank you so much. Bye bye. See you in the next video. Till then, keep shooting and unleash the creative in you.